Well, here we are, 49er faithful. Didn't pull that one out. 49ers drop one to the Bears, 19-10. Just got back to the hotel, was soaked. I mean, absolutely soaked to the bone. That rain was absolutely crazy. Coming in from Portland, you would think that I'm expecting the rain, that I would be prepared for it. I was soaked all the way through. I mean, you think you're packing light. You think that it's smart to bring just one pair of jeans, and then you weigh that pair of jeans after having felt like you dived into a swimming pool. It may be a wet flight home to Portland tomorrow. That was a tough one. I'm not going to lie. That is a rough loss to start the season with. It felt like the 49ers were in control and then let that one slip through their fingers. There was palpable frustration within the 49er faithful that were there in the stadium. I'm guessing that everyone here also feels a little bit frustration as well. I'm sensing that in the chat. I'm not going to go overly negative because I do see this as more of an outlier type of game than one that sets the tone for the season, but it sure was a missed opportunity. Trying to get warm here. Got my coffee finally dried off after I got in here. 420 Savage coming in. Shanahan is a choke artist. I don't know that I can place the blame squarely on one person or a coach in this instance. Certainly the penalties played a huge role in it, and you can fault Kyle Shanahan for failing to have the 49ers disciplined in this one. CT Law, sneakerhead here on the channel coming in. Lance sucks. 49 completion percentage. That's why you lost. That is not the talk. Chatter is Kyle can't win without Jimmy. York watching closely. Was Jimmy carrying Kyle, blowing up chat boards right now? I also don't entirely blame Trey Lance. This to me is an example of the types of up and downs that we're going to have to go through this season. With the rain, with the fact that towards the end of the game we got behind and the weather came back in, I think a lot of those incompletions towards the end are not really ones that I'm going to take as much stock in. Now, I'm not going to say that Trey played well. I mean, look at his stat line. The stat line was not pretty. 13 of 28, 164 yards, a 5.9 yard average with 0 touchdowns and 1 pick. I mean, he did carry the ball 13 times for 54 yards, but that's not sustainable either. And so you're really looking at a bad game from Trey, not a good game. I'm not going to say terrible, but I am going to say bad. 420 Savage coming in. Shanahan, play calling stinks. The defense was really good, and Shanahan kept calling bad plays. Plus, I blame him for our turnstile interior line. The line certainly is something to take a look back at. Kevin, sneakerhead here on the channel. In Scotland, after a long day in the rain, when you can't get any wetter, you just give in and accept it. Head home and go for a warm shower. Got to fight fire with fire, or in this case, water with water. Yeah, it felt great to get back here. I do need to take a hot shower. I need to wash that freaking game off of me because it left me feeling pissed. It felt like it was within reach. It felt like we could have gotten that one. And the other thing I hate to see is, man, I grabbed a seat there, ended up pretty decent seat, but had a fellow 49er fan next to me, and good dude. But once the Niners started to falter, it went to negativity real quick. I just can't handle that myself. Like, it's just not the space that I want to live in. I'm already bummed. I'm already sad that the Niners are down. I'm pulling for them. Like, I'm actively cheering for good shit to happen. I'm just not ready to go to that dark place because it just makes it that much worse to me. But I get it that some people are. Spy Nick Danger, pathetic, disgraceful, embarrassing, awful. I understand that sentiment. I just can't go there because it makes the loss so much worse for me to dwell in that negativity. But I'm with Cheese here in saying that I'm very pissed. I'm pissed that we could not pull this one out, that it was a very winnable game and couldn't pull it out. Paul, I think this is correct here. Paul says, keep the faith, quit crying. Nobody's perfect. Back to work. That's the way the Niners have to view this. It is one game. Let me tell you this. Walking out of the stadium, number one, walking out of the stadium in like a torrential downpour. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'm used to the rain. This was not normal rain at the end of the game. It was coming down in sheets. Then it was blowing sideways at you. Like, it was the type of rain where you are freaking soaked. head to toe. I had the poncho on. The poncho didn't matter. The poncho didn't protect me. They have to absolutely get right back to work, because I saw Bears fans celebrating as if they were on their way to the Super Bowl. And let me tell you, after watching that Bears team, I do not think they're headed for the Super Bowl, which should make us feel that much worse, because they were not that great out there. Cheese says, looks like you lost your voice from all the yelling. I did. I was pissed. I was letting it out in a constructive way, right? I'm always about cheering on the 49ers. And I did, in fact, lose my voice. I want to stay up with the comments in this one, because I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. I thought the defense came out lights out, looked good, lost something in the second half. Whether it was, again, going back and watching the tape is probably going to help. It's tough to pick up everything when you're actually there at the game. But it felt like the defense didn't have adjustments for the second half, and that Chicago did. It really felt like it. Cheese, I agree. Too many penalties. Come on Friday says, can't blame Lance. Blame on feet at Lance. Can't blame Lance. Blame on feet at Deebo for fumble early. The fumble by Deebo, that was rough. That was right there in front of my seats. It was just, such a perfectly placed helmet onto the football. I feel like that's one that's a bit of a freak play. But again, you put yourself in a position to be successful. Luck is determined by just how much effort is put out there. It is definitely influenced. Comes in. Rob, almost 100 yards given up in penalties. Yeah, that was rough. Lack of discipline is a major problem, no doubt. Nick, coming in from across the pond, sneakerhead here on the channel, says, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Need to sort out the penalties. The penalties were unacceptable. So many of them came on third downs, extending drives for the Bears. So painful to watch. Could not get off the field. Fire Chief, 12 penalties, almost 100 yards. What was the total there? It was a ridiculous number of penalties. Whether it's 11, 12, it was stupid. Archie coming in. Rob, Trey looked shook, but that's a given due to a lack of experience. I thought that he looked far less confident in the second half of the game. But this team is going to need to support him in that way, and it feels built to do so. Great defense, dominant run game. I am very worried about Elijah Mitchell. I've not heard any concrete evidence of what is wrong with the knee, but I have heard bad things about how it looks. That could be problematic, no question about it. Eric Schultz, Rob Schuh, that was a team loss. You can't scapegoat Lance for that collapse, especially those penalties. Are you kidding me? That's what I'm talking about, Eric. I do not think that this falls on any one person. It has to be shared by the entirety of the team. The penalties were throughout the team. Deebo had the fumble. You had a couple of missed assignments. On defense, to let Dante Pettis get that open, it was terrible. Alien coming in to say Dre Greenlaw had a terrible game. I was hearing that from people watching it on the television broadcast as well. The Pettis revenge game, that was really freaking painful. Really painful. Kim Adams, I agree. Penalties were freaking horrible. This is a bright spot, an absolute bright spot. Hufanga was amazing out there. I'll tell you who else I like the look of. Drake Jackson. I saw him getting around the edge on one of the plays that was right in front of me. Yeah, he was stood up by a running back after that. But, who doesn't when they get chipped after coming off a block? Who can fight through that aside from Bosa? He looked good on my end here. Christopher coming in to correct me. I appreciate that. Deebo fumble was a punch out, not a helmet hit. The angle I had looked exactly like a helmet onto the ball. I'll take that because I didn't have the view of the screen. Devin coming in. Rob, they were also letting the Bears hold like cray-cray in the second half. That's rough. CT Law coming in with the super chat here. Okay, facts. There was no harm in changing it up. Trey has a 46 completion percentage. That's why you lost. The team felt the vibe. You can't win posting 10 points. Social media blowing up with Kyle refusing to win without Jimmy GQ. I will give you the fact that this felt like a game that was close enough that if you replace Trey with Jimmy, there's a chance there's a different outcome. Hell, you change out any one player for another player, there's absolutely a chance. I am not taking this one game as any permanent reflection on Trey Lance. I'm just not going to do it. This game was an anomaly weather-wise. It was a slow developing game that Kyle Shanahan played very close to the chest as far as play calling was going. I thought it was going to be a close one all throughout. And then the defense just gave up a schoolyard play with Dante Pettis out in the middle of nowhere and Lance Fields extending a play as he does with his legs long enough such that the defense faltered. After that touchdown, the game went off its rails. It absolutely just went sideways at that point. I'm not blaming Lance on this one. I understand there will be a lot of people that do. I understand that if the 49ers continue to lose, the noise around Lance is going to get ridiculous. I don't think that it's fitting right now. Did he have a bad game? Yes. Did many other 49ers have a bad game? Yes, absolutely. Stottle coming in. Rob, not blaming Lance. One game, one loss, long season ahead. Make adjustments and learn from it and move forward. It's the way you have to view it. It's a 17-game season. Is every possibility that over the next 3 weeks, the Niners win against Seattle, head out and beat Denver, beat LA, right? If you're sitting at 3-1, does it hurt that you lost the first game to Chicago? Yeah, obviously it does. But a couple of wins will put this team back on the right track. This didn't feel like a condemnation of the level of talent on this team. This actually felt like the talent not coming through. Like, that's why it is so frustrating, is that it felt as if we had the talent out there on the field. I'm going to go through, want to definitely check in with the comments. I'm relieved personally after the what looked like a serious injury to Kinlaw, relieved that he was back up. Again, see mixed reviews from people on the type of game that was had. Jay Boogie pointing out, it wasn't a torrential downpour until late in the fourth quarter. That is true, but it was very, very wet. You are talking to a man who was sitting there in the stands in the rain. It was definitely wet. The field was atrocious. At the end, it was so torrential that no comeback was happening, right? That was poorly timed as far as Mother Nature was concerned. Ryan Anthony, Rob, where was the hurry-up offense being down 2 scores with 5 minutes? I don't know. That was very frustrating. I think, again, you look at Shanahan for that, right? You really do have to, a couple of these things fall back on the head coach, and I think he's got to take it. Michael, I'm here with you. That was a defensive break on that Pettis TD. It was ugly. There were several defensive breaks. I will argue that that's the cost of not having Jimmy Ward. This is why you extend Jimmy MFing Ward beyond next season, beyond this season. Get that man under contract, because when we don't have him back there, we have these huge breaks in the defense. A defense that plays tough for 3 quarters and then gives up several big busted plays in the fourth is not going to be an elite defense. And if it is communication on the back half, I would attribute that to the loss of Jimmy Ward. I agree with CT Law. Hufanga is a beast there. Tom Jensen, sneakerhead here on the channel, coming in, not in game shape. Fed the lack of mental stamina, the penalties, the turnovers, and the blown assignments. It did feel as if the 49ers were not ready today. It felt as if the 49ers came in and overestimated their ability to beat the Bears. Certainly that was the case with the 49er fan base. We were very confident coming into this one. I thought it was going to be close. I did not think we were going to lose. I thought we were being overconfident and it would be close. Did not think we would drop it. Here we go. This is so true. Wilberth comes in, sneakerhead here on the channel. It doesn't mean we have to result back to Jimmy G after this game. Way too early for that type of a freaking reaction. Way too early in my mind to say that your quarterback isn't functional as a quarterback. I didn't think that was the case for Lance. Did he have some errant throws? Yes. Were some off? Yes. That football was wet as all get out for most of the game. I do not believe that this is going to be a definitive statement of what we see by this offense. John R., I feel the frustration, though. That was the most pathetic season opener I've ever seen. I can't think back to a worse one. I was in Minnesota in 2018. That was pretty painful. We got a Dante Pettis touchdown in that one, but it was for us. It was for us. Tough to see Dante Pettis having success there. Glad for him. All right, Devin coming in, talking to me. Again, if you want to talk to me, at Rob is very helpful because then I know the comment is aimed at yours truly. Devin says, Rob, I've been the biggest critic of Trey, but watching him today, was impressed with his performance. I definitely have a lot more faith in him as he gains experience. The first half, like if you watch Trey in the first half and you didn't think to yourself, okay, there's something here, there's something that we can work with, then I'm not sure which game you were watching in the first half. I'm with Devin. I was impressed by that. The second half, yeah, it fell off. It absolutely fell off. And it seemed that Trey may have gotten into his own head. He may have lost some confidence throughout the game as he continued to struggle. The defense didn't do him a hell of a lot of favors in the second half there, and the wheels just came off. It felt like quicksand where things began to go badly, and then the entire team reacted as such. Being out there in the stands was, I got to say, it was a good experience. I was glad to be out there. You know, it sucks to travel all the way out to Chicago and stomach a loss and then have to listen to Bears fans as they declare themselves Super Bowl freaking champions. Neither is true. The Bears are not as good as their fans may want to believe after today's game, and the 49ers are not as bad as some faithful may want to believe after that performance. Ryan Anthony, Rob, can't lose the so-called easy games with this hard of a schedule coming up. No, you cannot. You lose a couple of these, you're in for a losing season. You lose one of them, maybe. I will say the Mitchell injury is tough for me. Going to get to a couple of super chats, and then I will be back to the comments as well. George Cribb, Rob, I'm worried about the offensive line. Will Trey play all 16 games? Defense was swarming all over the field. I'm concerned about the O-line as well. Again, that's one where it's tough to judge when you're in the stands. That's going to be, for sure, watching the film for me, seeing how the line held up, seeing where the defense was able to collapse the 49ers offensive line. Certainly Trey was under duress throughout the game. No doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. Like in 4-6-4-7, our O-line looked terrible. That was the biggest problem. Penalties certainly didn't help. Man, it was a rough one. Real rough. The injury to Elijah Mitchell has me concerned. The offensive line didn't feel cohesive. I agree with that. I can't point to one specific member of the offensive line as to who struggled. Again, got to go back and watch the tape. Kevin, sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, everyone had this as an automatic win. I know. How many times have you seen a throw slip even before the game started? Lance isn't to blame. If the two guys on Fields had hit, then Pettis is still a dud. Man, we got close on Fields. Hillside Eric, Rob, say it ain't so. I wish I could say it ain't so. Austin, you misspelled Jimmy. He says, I really miss Jimmy Ward. Yeah, Jimmie. That was the biggest player we missed today. Jimmy freaking Ward. I would argue that we don't have those lapses on defense if Jimmy Ward is out there. Looking for those comments that come in at Rob Schuh. Rob, what's your take about Lance not sliding again? I know his adrenaline was picking up, but he was picking up a lot of yards. And I'll tell you what, after watching Josh Allen doing the same, these bigger guys, if they want to fight for a couple of extra yards, I'm okay with it. Should he be doing it on every run? Absolutely not. But now that we do have a far better backup quarterback than Nate Sudfeld, I will say I'm more okay with risking your body to get those first downs, to rack up those wins. Rob, completely undisciplined football by the Niners. Did not take advantage of the rain being steady at the beginning. Rain came down at the worst time when the cook was impossible at that point. Agreed that the 49ers had their foot on the Bears' throat, were unable to capitalize on that, unable to put them away, committed far too many penalties, made too many mistakes, seemed to be too confident, and then allowed the Bears right back into it. You knew that there would be a couple of schoolyard plays by Justin Fields, especially once the grass began to lose its ability to hold. It was sloppy out there. When you watch players stepping, it was squishing up water. Like, that was nasty, and that was fresh grass. Kim Adams pointing it out, says, Rob, that was a trap game. That is. I'll tell you what, Spy Nick Danger, if we lose two in a row, if we lose to Seattle 2, oh boy, Spy Nick Danger says, I agree. Then it does become kind of time to panic because then you're 0-2, not panic, but that's when you become really worried. You'd be 0-2 going into freaking Denver to face Russell Wilson and then LA. Yeah, that would be rough. We have to take this loss out on Seattle. Kevin, Rob, some criticism on Lance, though. He still goes headfirst into gaining an extra yard when it's not needed. Throws too low and fast. Definitely some low throws. Some that just skipped off of the turf. Neil coming in. Rob, kind of blames Shanahan for this one. Should have kept running the ball, and costly mistakes by the defense. Need to do better going forward. The injury to Elijah Mitchell was unfortunate. You would think that played into a little bit of a shift there in not running quite as much, but agreed. It did feel as if we were moving the ball consistently. A couple of poorly timed mistakes. The turnover in the red zone, the inability in the third quarter to score there when you had 1st and goal, terrible. Nugent Enigma comes in, missed opportunities, poor penalties, get better and move forward. That's the reality. You have to absolutely just pack this one up and move on. Chris Royal coming in with the super chat. Rough game. Hopefully you got some deep dish. I'm going to grab some deep dish tonight. I had a great dinner last night. Went out with Jack Hammer to a restaurant around here. Had some phenomenal food. Really good. Hoping to get some warm Chicago deep dish pizza. Take a hot shower. I'm drinking my coffee right now. Try and warm up a little bit. Try and choke this loss down because this really does sting a little bit. It really does. I come in, try not to have huge expectations. But this one was tough. This one was tough. Ooh, I get to block Daniel Kelly. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Daniel Kelly. I don't give a shit if you're a Jets scout. I don't give a shit if after one game you were correct that Trey Lance wasn't good in this one. You give like zero evidence to support your opinion. I'm so sick of reading about this dude. I'm not even going to say his name again. That was a ban. That was me moving on. That was him in the comments trying to demand respect. Dude, if you call a coin flip and you get it right, do you demand respect? No, you got lucky. You got lucky. Back it up with some reasoning. Throw the tape on. Walk through it. Don't just take one stance and continue to shout it from the frickin' rooftops like an idiot. I don't mean to insult people, but man, that dude, when you come incorrectly at my starting quarterback, sometimes I will respond poorly. And I just did because I'm frustrated and I'm willing to admit that was poor. Even though I do not like Daniel Kelly's opinion, I'm going to stop saying his name. Yeah, that's it. I'm leaving that there. Be water, my friend. I am water right now. Let me tell you, I was soaked to the bone. Had to get on a fresh t-shirt there. My boots are ruined. I brought one pair of jeans. My ass is riding home wet on the airplane tomorrow. That is not going to be comfortable. Should have packed an extra pair of jeans. Be water, my friend, says Rob. I wasn't confident enough we would win. Not being cynical when I say it's been a repeating pattern for the 49ers, shooting ourselves in the foot to cost us games. Undebatably a trademark habit of ours. It's true. Underneath Shanahan, we have lacked some discipline, and it is a concern. You wonder if it's because we have so many motions and alignments on offense, we get a lot of false start penalties. Kevin Sneakerhead says, Rob, I read apart from Williams and McGlinchey that there's only 8 starts between the rest of the offensive line. Makes sense. It's not clicking yet after a statue in the pocket. I wonder if the playbook is an issue. Keldon coming in. Rob, this division will be winless after 1 week. Week 2 is a fresh start. Hey, everybody loses. Everybody is tied for first in the NFC West. I'll take it. Christopher Neighbors, Rob, Lance not sliding takes away the possibility of getting some penalties in our favor. That's true. The first penalty on Azeez Al-Shire was trash. Like, he was jumping out of the way, in my humble opinion. Again, I'm not watching on a big screen. I'm watching on the big screen from a long distance away. Looked like Azeez was trying to avoid that contact. Did make some contact. It seemed ticky-tack. Some bad officiating, but also some bad mistakes by the Niners. Leonard JG says, Rob, never really like hearing how weak the opposing team is before the game. Disappointing AF. Yeah, when the fan base is as convinced as our fan base was that the opposing team is weak and will lose, I imagine that filters through to the players, that they try not to allow that to happen. At the same time, you could see them getting a little overconfident in this one. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they came in hard-nosed, but it sure felt like we overlooked this one. Had a chance. Here we go. The Gabe Bubba Niners show. Rob, are you taking the Broncos to win in Seattle? I picked that originally as the Niners to lose that one. I will be altering my prediction that week based on how Seattle is. Broncos. We're talking about Broncos in Seattle. I haven't picked that game. I was looking at the Broncos week 3 for us and Seattle week 2. I had predicted the 49ers beating Seattle in week 2, losing to Denver in week 3. I will adjust that prediction the week of based on how the teams are doing. 49er faithful Dave from PA says, Rob, everyone is overreacting to Lance. Remember how Josh Allen did his rookie year, and now look at him. Lance will be fine. A lot of overreactions. A lot of overreactions from Chicago Bears fans thinking that their team is elite because they beat a team that everyone had hyped up in the preseason. And a lot of panic from 49ers fans. It was to be expected. You knew as soon as something went sideways, there would be fans calling for Jimmy G. There would be fans ridiculing Trey Lance. There would be the same haters coming in to say Lance isn't a professional quarterback. And you're seeing exactly that. And it's tragic on some level because it's a complete overreaction. Abraham Muniz, Rob, whoever thinks this is a Trey loss is wrong. Did he have some say into it? Yes, but it's a full team loss. Defense crumbled. O-line was horrible. Deebo's fumble was also a killer. I can't disagree with any of those points. Trying to get forward to come up to where the chat is now. Again, hit me with the @Rob if you're talking to me. California Bear, Rob, Chiefs just scored 3 touchdowns on each of their first drives. No, we can't do that. The offense is not in rhythm yet. It is definitely not. Do I expect it to get better? Yes. Not today. Zoros Rage. Rob, I expected it to be a 3-point game, all field goals. They got cocky when the Bears are used to playing in bad weather. They are better at taking advantage of things when it falls apart. They really did get in there and take advantage of it. Oof, Spy Nick Danger. Rob, this loss is going to give me a hangover. Hopefully the team will rebound. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Niners. Lot of Niners getting drunk tonight. Not Niners, Niner faithful. Nick Garfoot, Rob, so glad you've blocked that chap. Yeah, out of here. I don't want to hear that. Like, hey, if you want to put in fair criticism, go for it. You want to label somebody a bust after their first game? Get the F out of here. Not in this chat. Not when I'm in charge. Not over and over again. Not talking trash for no reason. Not going to allow it. That's not for me. You can do that somewhere else. I agree. Joseph 559, he just wants Lance to fail. I can't stand people who root for people to fail. Wasn't me, says Rob, still on game mode. LOL. Yes. Gerardo, this one. All right. So, by the way, Danny Gray was Trey Lance's favorite target in the preseason. Why didn't he play? They took the speedster out so that Malik Turner could contribute on special teams. I don't know if they anticipated that dry spell that this game was going to have. There was a period in time where had Danny Gray been in the game, you could have taken a shot. You would have gotten one off. I think they said to themselves, we expect poor conditions, and therefore we'd rather have the extra gunner in Malik Turner, probably not going to have the opportunity to throw deep to Danny Gray. Archie coming in. Rob, one game. We will be back on fire. I sure hope so. Let's take this shit out on Seattle. V Brewer 3000. Get him, Rob. Yes, will do. Keldon, Rob, Trey and this O-line will be powerful in the second half of the season. Moments may be ugly until then. This is the ups and downs of Trey Lance. Absolutely, learning this offense, getting comfortable. Did he look comfortable? No, he did not look comfortable. Rohan, we want Rainy Rob. Go to Twitter and look at all those pictures. Dude, I was standing there and there was this torrential downpour. Let me see if I can show you on my phone here what I took a picture of. That was happening in the frickin' stands. I feel for anyone that was beneath this torrential downpour. You got that torrential downpour coming in. Look at that. That is the kind of rain that was happening at Soldier Field. That is what we were fighting against, ladies and gentlemen, as we were attempting to make our comeback. That's what it looked like. Yes, it was rough out there. It was rainy. Rob was soaked. Rob is from Portland, and he was not used to this level of rain. Austin coming in. Rob, do you think Deebo is just slow because it's week 1? I know we're slow at the start, but Deebo's start was concerning. I thought, other than the fumble, I thought Deebo looked pretty good. Now, defenses are going to prepare for that. Defenses are going to be all over Deebo. You are going to need to use Deebo more as a decoy. When you saw the triple option that Lance absolutely nailed, I thought that was a sign of things to come. And I do believe that all this heavy Deebo usage, as a result of Elijah Mitchell being out, but that's going to set up a lot of fakes later on. That's going to set up a lot of other play calls not to Deebo. I don't think you can sustain the amount of carries Deebo got. Archie coming in, Rob. Ayuk was off PI, was weak, but overall Niners should have targeted him more. I would agree that it seemed Ayuk was one of our better weapons out there. It didn't feel like we were getting a lot of separation from our receivers. USMC 49er, Rob, the weather was the 12th man, and it equalized the rosters. Top it off with the costly penalties. The weather and the penalties absolutely changed the game. Absolutely changed the game. If the Niners had been disciplined, they had a chance. They absolutely had a chance. Art Soto, hey, good game. I got to give it to you. Bear down. You guys earned that one. Absolutely earned that one. I'll put that up. I got no problem owning that loss, giving credit to the Bears. Peter Lee, Rob, I think this was a trap game that we usually have in the middle of the season, but instead it was the first game this season. Keep our heads up and many more football to be played. A lot more football to be played. And hey, if this happens early on in the season, maybe it sets the tone. Maybe it wakes this damn team up. Maybe this team says to itself, we're so talented, we cannot allow these games to be dropped like this, because we absolutely fumbled this one away. Pun intended. Man, that was brutal. Abraham Yunez, Rob, I think the rain played a big part in the sloppy game, and I'm excited to see how Trey does when the weather is not a factor. Absolutely played a factor. Towards the end, that ball was just slipping out of his hand. And you looked at a lot of the incompletions coming late in that game. It's rough. Natural Flavor says, may not just be the Niner faithful that are drinking tonight. You might be right. There could be some Niners throwing it back because that was ugly. Jaguayo 56, man, rough loss. Okay, he comes in. Rob, dumb penalties, blown coverage, Trey, no time. It's not really a fair game to declare things from. I think that's what bothers me. That is absolutely what bothers me. 37 Run 937ers says, Rob, you going to the Falcons game? I am. I will be at the Denver game. I'll be at the Falcons game. I will not be at the Panthers game. This loss means I don't need to go to every away game, because I definitely am not the good luck charm. You know, I've brought some good luck to some games. Wasn't enough this time. Edgardo Rodriguez coming in. On the bright side, at least everyone in the NFC West will be 0-1, hopefully, LOL. So next week will be a clean slate. Let's go, Niners. Hey, 0-1 for everybody in the NFC West would be freaking nice. Go in, beat Seattle, forget all about this. Wash it down with a cup of coffee. Warming up. People are optimistic for the entire division being 0-1. I'm here for it. I am here for it. Yeah, I'm with Lono Wilson and the Lion of Judah. Good game, Bears. I give the nod. Lamar, take your victory lap, man. Absolutely earned it. The Lion of Judah, I'm with you. Good game, Bears. You got to tip your cap. You have to tip your cap. Glory comes in to say, Rob, fluke loss. Dry field equals shutout. Sure felt that way, didn't it? Didn't it? That defense was cooking. That defense in the first half was showing exactly what I thought this defense was going to be able to do. The lapses in the second half leave me wanting to see Jimmy Ward, wanting to see a Jimmy Ward extension. Lapaka Lolo coming in, sneakerhead here on the channel. Sad for the loss, but hopefully they will learn from the dang penalties. That is absolutely the hope, man. Absolutely the hope. Oh, Paul, man, one of the dudes that I met today. Paul comes in, says, nice meeting you today, man. I hope Shanahan doesn't ruin Lance. That was a Jimmy G game plan, exception of a few plays. It was great meeting everyone. I want to call that out, that I Absolutely. By the way, I do see a little bit of spamming. I'll put that time out. Hey, if you want to say go Bears, you want to say bear down, all good. But when you just do it repeatedly, you get a little bit of a timeout. So Geno DeGreat just got blocked. Is that a Seahawks fan? Is that a Geno Smith reference? I don't even know. Paul, again, great to meet you. Want to take this as an opportunity to say hello to anyone that I met today that is now watching the program. It was cool to come up, shake people's hands. CJ Gray, dude, we talk all the time on Thursdays, coming on the program. To meet you face to face was awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome. Everybody that I met today was cool. Bears fans were welcoming too. Little bit of trash talk coming out of the stadium. I'm a respectful guy. When I'm in someone else's house, I cheer for my team, but I don't talk filthy trash on the other team. And so I generally get respect back in that same way. I find that to be true. Imagine that. Treat others with respect. Get respect back yourself. Still doesn't stop the pain, though. Still doesn't stop, walking out of the tunnel and the dude behind you who's had too many drinks and is talking about the Bears and you just want to say something, but you bite your tongue because they won. They won. They took that game. We made the mistakes. They grabbed onto that opportunity and absolutely deserved the win. Austin, Rob, still very excited to see more Bosa. He is the most fun to watch. I think this line is coming back with a vengeance. The D-line early looks so good. Justin Fields is so hard to contain, and as that field degraded, it became that much harder to keep up with him. All right, we got a message to the faithful. I'm here for it. Abraham, Rob, message to the faithful. Keep the faith. The 49ers will wake up from this loss and go savage on the rest of the schedule. Niners faithful, rise. Cheer our team through ups and downs. It's the way it should be. It's the way it should be. We got to cheer on the faithful. We cannot say this is one game and the season is over. It's week one. It's week one. The season is not over. Put a couple of wins together. Get this off of the books. Clean up the penalties. Get Lance comfortable back there. Man. All right, looking for, here we go. Batman 29. Rob, if Mason was active today, why didn't he get any touches? Jeff Wilson Jr. was literally the only running back all game. You had Elijah Mitchell, and then he was injured, obviously. Deebo got a ton of carries. I mean, for Deebo, that is. He had 8 carries on the day. 8 carries. My man is on pace for 136 carries. Deebo Samuel on pace for 136 carries. Not sustainable. Yeah, Elijah Mitchell goes out. It is concerning that you get Jeff Wilson Jr. 9 touches, Deebo 8 touches, but you don't get Jordan Mason into the game. A guy who did look like he was capable of breaking some runs. A guy who did look like he could contribute to this one. Dollar bills, I agree. So much went wrong in that game. GD5, yeah, the 12 penalties really hurt. No doubt. Archie, I agree with this. Hufanga and Jimmy Ward together will be a monster. I'm telling you. Gerardo, I do. I think it's too early. He says, is it too early to start the debate between Trey Lance or Jimmy G? But Kyle Shanahan struggles to win without Jimmy G. Interesting. It's one game. It is one game. If this trend continues and Trey continues to struggle, week 3, week 4, I think that conversation will become relevant. You managed to keep Jimmy Garoppolo here on this roster. You could turn it back over to him. That would basically destroy your young quarterback. So you have to weigh the two. You can't just say, well, it's all about this season. We're going to put Jimmy in because he gives us the best chance to win this year, and then we'll go back to Trey. No, you might have destroyed Trey's confidence at that point. So you truly have to decide if he's the guy or not the guy. If he's the guy and he's struggling, so what? It's one season. Our future is bigger and brighter than that. If you have question marks about whether or not he's the guy, and I don't mean you, I mean Kyle Shanahan, I mean John Lynch, I mean the people who are in charge of this entire franchise, not you and I. But if they start to doubt and you're losing, that's when the conversation has to happen. But it's not an obvious one. Fossey, Rob, looking back, draft Bosa in 2019 at 2 or Josh Allen? The importance of the quarterback position, I think if you go back in time, you have to take Josh Allen. I think everyone would. It's no reflection on Nick Bosa. But if you have a choice between a Pro Bowl future potential Hall of Fame quarterback or a Pro Bowl future Hall of Fame defensive end, I think you take the quarterback unless you already have that. And we didn't. See, this is the kind of thing that like just feels ridiculous. This is the overreaction I'm talking to. Yo-Yo 3747 is a very, personal name to Yo-Yo. 49ers suck. Now they lost to the Bears. I just don't buy that. I get the frustration that might lead a Niner fan to say that. I get that it might be a Bears fan coming in. I get that it might be a Seahawks fan coming in. But I do not buy it. 1 week is too much, and Terror Dome gets it. Sneakerhead here on the channel. We're on to Seattle. We are on to Seattle, and we're going to take out our aggression on Pete Carroll and his frickin' squad. We're going to destroy them. Destroy them. Russell James put in Jordan Mason. Agree. If Elijah Mitchell, if it's serious, which I hope that it is not, I have heard, I haven't rewatched it. I don't like to rewatch replays of injuries. I'll be honest. I don't like to glorify that. I'll wait and hear what the doctors have to say. But I heard that it was a helmet to the knee. Correct me if that's not what it is. That's concerning. Could obviously be something where it's a contusion, a bruise of some sort, but obviously the knee is going to be softer than a helmet. And so praying for Elijah Mitchell, hoping that it comes out well. If it's not the case, it'll be interesting to see how the touches break out between Jordan Mason and Jeff Wilson Jr. And then obviously Ty Davis Price would likely to be active in that case. Tuxedo coming in. Rob Schuh, do you think Lance should have worn gloves like Fields? Towards the end of the game, he needed something because those balls were coming out with very little control multiple times. I mean, at that point with the level of downpour, I don't know if it was palpable on TV, but it was like buckets of water being dumped on you in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. We needed a comeback. It was not happening. It was so clear that it was not happening because there just was no way to fight through that weather at the end. The timing for that was atrocious. But by that point, we, the 49ers, had already given up the game. We had coughed it up by that point. Abraham comes in. Rob, every team needs a tune-up to see where they need to get better. Better now we have our tune-up game now than later in the season. If the Niners respond to this and go on a tear, we'll look back at this game as a great one. Like it was painful, yes, but it propelled us forward. If we drop another, it's going to get crazy. Tony Lansky, weather was just crazy. Game can go either way in conditions like that. Just want Trey to show more emotions on his face and stop looking like Eli Manning. Just one game, though. I admittedly did not see Lance's facial expressions there. I will be absolutely rewatching the replay of this one. Always do after attending a game in person, even when it's a painful loss like this. I am not envying that assignment of rewatching this game. Austin coming in. Rob, it's hard to judge a first-year starting quarterback with this offensive line. How's Jimmy going to do with his mobility? Let's be honest about that. A lot of people want to put Jimmy in. If the offensive line continues to struggle, is Jimmy going to fare better? Go back and watch Jimmy Garoppolo when he has pressure coming directly in his face. He is not going to exit stage left or stage right, roll out, and chuck it down the field. Now, was Lance able to complete those plays today? No. A lot of those passes skipped off of the turf, and that was disappointing. And let's be honest, that's a little bit of what we have seen. So it's fair to assume that under duress, when in pressure situations, Lance may have some of those throws. I think when we accept that that's part of the up and down, we can then look at the highlights that he puts out and weigh the two and say to ourselves, can we balance out what Lance does well with those growing pains that he's going to go through? There were a lot of people who were real high on Trey Lance, and great. I'm thrilled that they were. I am very much look forward to the Lance era. However, as excited as I am about Lance, I was ready to acknowledge there would be ups and downs. I feel as though there was a whole segment of Niner faithful that didn't want there to be any downs. And that just seems so unrealistic to expect from a quarterback that has such little experience. Even with the physical gifts that he has, even with the ability to push the ball down the field, to move the chains with his legs, Even with that arm, he is going to make mistakes. And this was unfortunately one of those games where a lot of those mistakes factored in with the rest of the team not playing well, and it contributed to the loss. Quesadilla Thrilla 71, sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, if I'm the 49ers, I'm looking for next year's draft for safeties, O-line, and tight ends. I can't fault that. I'd rather re-sign Jimmy Ward. I would rather extend the man. When you see the difference, the rest of the league doesn't understand how valuable Jimmy Ward is. So you can get him for a reasonable contract for the amount of value that he provides to this team specifically. Johnny Green, I love you, Rob, but I like these kinds of comments. Johnny Green says, love you to death, Rob, but that's why I have to listen to Grant sometimes. It's okay to criticize when that many mistakes and lackluster play call is thrown in your face. Absolutely. I am not against criticism. Criticism is deserved here. And I hope that I have been clear in criticizing the way in which the 49ers played today. Felt like they came out flat. Now, am I going to take that, amplify it to the next level, and go on some rant and talk shit when I was, just a moment ago predicting a phenomenal season and then switch sides and talk that shit? No, that's not me. I got to be me. I'm going to be positive and supportive of my team while acknowledging that they fell flat on their freaking face today. I don't need to take this moment to then pour on people individually, to go riff on them, to make up some new nickname for them and make fun of them for endless amounts of time. No, that's not what I do. Criticize, yes. Belittle, no. Zoros Rage. But I do appreciate you saying that you love me. I appreciate that. Zoros Rage coming in. Rob, what is your minimum expected stats for Lance this year? I still see it as I did before, somewhere in the 3,700, 3,800 passing yards, probably in the 500 to 600 yards of rushing. I mean, we may see more than that after today's rushing totals, but this does not change my expectation that we will have big games. Weather absolutely was a huge factor today. If you weren't in the stadium, I just don't think you can get it. It was a big factor. Ken Fashion Journey says, Rob Schuh, is very glaring that Deebo looks ineffective without those Jimmy G center high risk throw down the middle for Deebo bully run. I think that was an indication of needing those short passes on time, on target for Deebo to really be effective there. And that's fair. I also believe Lance is capable of getting there. All right. Looking for those at Rob comments. California Bear. Rob, at the end of the game, it wouldn't matter gloves or not. No, it was nasty. Like I showed that video. It was coming down, cats and dogs. You walked out from under the overhang and you were just instantly drenched. I had to literally wring out my jeans when I got home, like wring them out, water falling into the shower at that point. It was nasty. Ooh, there's a Bears fan. Lamar says, by the way, you're talking about rain playing a factor, but we had to play in the same element, so it's really no advantage. That's not true. It is an advantage when you have the faster of the two quarterbacks that is the elite runner. It was Justin Fields' ability to extend plays and to run in open space that gave the Bears the advantage today on offense. And I would argue that coming into it, we knew that was the case. We knew Justin Fields was a better runner than Trey Lance. I don't think many people said, hey, Trey Lance is faster. Trey Lance is a better runner. No, Justin Fields has that athleticism. Clearly, in the first half, he was struggling. When he began to rely upon that athleticism, the defense couldn't keep up because the field continued to deteriorate. The 49ers struggled to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers in the second half, and therefore were unable to put the defense in those positions where the defense had to respond. The 49ers fell off. The Bears got stronger. The Bears, I would argue, have considerably more practice time in the rain than we do in Santa Clara. So I give the Bears credit, and you have to acknowledge the weather evening the game, shrinking down the margin for victory, and the Bears took advantage of that. Credit to them. Nick Garfoot coming in, sneakerhead. Rob, next week is going to be different. I'm sure the team has come away from this game disappointed and will want to improve. They better. SAR519 sneakerhead here on the channel says, Rob, the Packers and the Cards are getting smacked. Rain was the biggest contribution of this loss. Rain and penalties. The penalties were within our control. The rain was not. So I'm focusing on the penalties as the bigger disappointment. Studied at Yo Mama's house said, you think Kittle will play in the Seattle game? I like that prediction. It gives, I saw a doctor tweeting about it, that the average time for someone to recover after a groin pull in the NFL is 15 days. Kittle would be right at that cusp. He seemed to indicate he had a chance to play today. It didn't seem that was the case from the rest of the beat reporters. Ken Fashion Journey, Rob Schuh, we are also missing those Jimmy G 2-minute offense for a quick score downfield. There's no doubt that Jimmy is more comfortable in this offense. I'm still not calling for him. Kevin, sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, are some folk watching a different game from what we saw? Huffy was a beast. Deebo dropped, then totally redeemed himself. Equilibrium, tit for tat. If it evens itself out over time. I do think that people are overreacting, as one would expect when you drop a game to the Bears. Kim Adams, Rob, just a test and tune like I do to my cars before the season starts. Hey, when you're at the track, when you're running the quarter mile, it's test and tune all day, baby, right? You got to get dialed in. Kim Adams understands it. I hope the 67 GOAT is running well, Kim. Linda Griffin doing the good people's work. I think I got to read it first. PSA, all 49ers fans, stop complaining about the weather. Oh, no, it's a Bears fan. It's a Bears fan. I'm not complaining about the weather. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I freaking love the rain. Absolutely. That's not very kind to tell me to get my butt out of your city. Linda's not one of the friendly fans that I ran into at the stadium. Linda seems a little bit grumpy. You just won. You just won. You're supposed to be happy. And here you are in my chat talking shit. Go for it. Cake says, Linda, show some respect. Lamar says, yes, Linda. I think Lamar's probably echoing. I don't know. Fossey, Rob, thank you for the positive vibes. As a fan, this loss was crushing. Have yourself a drink. I'm for sure going to relax after this one. Deep dish pizza is on the menu for tonight. I'm going to eat my frickin' cares away. I agree. To come in and talk trash in here, a little bit of a unclassy move. But I will say there were Niners fans talking trash before. Oh, we're back to the spamming. Again, you can definitely put in your support for the Bears, but if it's over and over and over again, spamming the chat, you get a timeout. You get a little bit of a timeout. That's what's happening. All right, getting back in here. Quesadilla Thrilla with the super chat. Lots of positive things to build on. Lots of positive things I heard while listening to the game, but also a lot of discipline issues to work out. This is a good take. There were things to build off of. There were positives. I thought Lance in the first half showed things that I wanted to see. Lance in the second half confirmed for me that we are going to have our ups and downs. We need this defense and run game to support him while he grows into that role. We need to get leads and hold on to them. We had that today, and it was defensive lapses and penalties that allowed the Bears back into it. All right, Blake says, from a Bears fan, the rain most certainly affected the outcome. We can't just say we played a better game in the rain as a cop-out to the fact that we barely stood a chance in the first half. It was a different game from the first half to the second. Credit, though, to the Bears for not giving up in that one. They could have packed it in, no doubt. Jaguayo, I agree with this. He says, Kittle was missed to be a safety valve. Our O-line was okay. Our defense lost some communication. No doubt. All right, looking for any of these final comments here. Tyke182, Rob Schuh, I have no idea why everyone is so down. It's one game. They will fix this. So will Lance. And last time I checked, Lance was not playing defensive back, quarterback, O-line, and defense all at once. No, he really wasn't. I definitely will say I don't believe this is setting the tone for this season, unless it is setting the tone for the Niners to get pissed and start a little run. Start a little run. Very fair criticism here. See, this is the kind of comment I can get down with from an opposing fan, as long as it's not spanned over and over and over again, is this one here. I hate when, oh, no. Sorry, but Blake, I like this comment. He says, I hate when other Bear fans are toxic to other teams. I agree. And I feel that same way about when Niners fans do the same. I thought Niners fans were talking too much trash before the game, and I'm not for that. Win the game, then be respectful and take the win. Like that to me is just the way. I'm not insulting Bears fans. If you do what you got to do, it's just not my cup of tea. This is the one that I was going to bring in. Lamar here. This is a fair criticism. He says, well, y'all need to be more disciplined and stop underestimating your opponent. No doubt, Lamar. No doubt about that. I believe that the Niners underestimated the Bears. Thomas B., here come the excuses. We don't need excuses. We made mistakes. We cost ourselves this game. You don't have to excuse that. You got to own that. You have to own this loss. You have to say, all right, mea culpa, on to the next week. We lost to the Bears. No need for the excuses. There's examination of reasons why we shot ourselves in the foot. Nick Garfoot doing the good work says, don't forget to smash that like button, people. We got a lot of new people in here. I'm sure the Bears fans are hitting the dislike. Don't do that to me. Hit that like button. I'm acknowledging your comments. I'm saying that, hey, good game. Good game. Abraham, Rob, we will be okay. Niners stick with Lance for the ups and downs, and we will be better for it. No doubt. Kyle Shanahan is not giving up on Trey Lance, and neither should you after one game. If you didn't believe in him to start, I get it. This is further evidence that, in your mind, we should have stuck with Jimmy G. I believe there were going to be ups and downs with Trey Lance. This to me is just evidence of what I thought was going to happen. Jaguile 56, appreciate it. Says, Rob, be well. Safe travels, my friend. I get back tomorrow. Looking forward to it. I'll probably, like I said, I got to get a hairdryer out and try and dry my jeans because otherwise I'm going to have wet jeans on a freaking flight, and that's nasty. StewDog81 says, I hate when fans talk smack. Then when they lose, then when it comes time, now I'm being disrespectful? StewDog, let me clarify for you in case you're referring to me. I do not talk trash prior to a game. I will predict who I believe wins. I don't believe in the whole talking trash prior to playing. Matter of fact, I don't really believe in talking trash in its entirety. Unless talking trash is coming at me, then I might reciprocate a little bit. I'd rather just celebrate it. To me, once you have won, the need to go back and rub that in another fan's face is just as bad as before the game saying we're going to whoop your asses and then losing as the Niners did today. Quesadilla Thriller, this is the way I go. Got to win and lose with class. I try to keep it simple like that. I respect people who don't. It is on each individual to decide how they want to handle winning and losing. All right, trying to keep up with the Rob comments. So if you've got the @Rob in there, I'll hit it. Says, hey, Rob, this comes from Nick Money Meyer. Says, been a minute. How you been? Trash game. We beat ourselves. Yo, many penalties, D-blown coverages, O-line soft as baby food. We will be better. Let's go, 49ers. Trey will get better. I agree with that, and those are fair criticisms of the Nines struggling. Just got a report that Mitchell has a big brace on his knee. Suppose that's not entirely surprising then. Appreciate Jake saying to like the video. Absolutely appreciate that. Robert coming in. Ocampo. Rob, Bears fans here. I like to catch the opponent's fan channels after games to see the other side. Really enjoyed your take. I appreciate that, Robert. Really do. I got to say, Bears fans in like 99% of them were fantastic today. Even the 1% that weren't over the top. It was very friendly. And, I got to tip my cap to the loss, man. That they stuck with it. Could have given up in the first half. Didn't. It felt like the crowd was prepared for that sort of inevitable game getting out of hand. It came back into it. Kevin, sneakerhead here on the channel. I'll give credit to the Bears for making the most of it, Rob. You've put on a fabulous display today and look forward to the next game you go to. Man, want the Niners back in the UK again. Been too long. For those that are here, I did a pregame video. If you want to watch it, it's a little outdated now because I was all hyped. The fans were all hyped, but I did try to show around the stadium. Hope people like that. I'm going to try to do pregame after the game and do that in the stands, in the parking lots when I travel to games. Totally open to suggestions on how to improve that as well. Tyke 182, Rob Schuh. Listen to Lance on the podium. He said he missed throws, made mistakes, took responsibility. Much respect. That's what you're looking for from a young quarterback. Blake, Bears fan. Got to give you credit. Rob, I like your stream. You're very coherent and fun to listen to. Thank you. Appreciate that. I try to be entertaining. I try to be honest. And I also try to be positive. Stew Dog 81. I like the start of this at least. As a Bears fan, good game. And I'm not the type of person to dislike someone's channel because you're with a different team, except the Packers. LOL. It's supposed to be all fun. Dude, walking out of the stadium hearing, it's not a Packers game, but they are absolutely chanting Packers suck throughout. I'm joining in because, of course, we dislike the Packers as well. I love the amount of disdain that exists between Bears fans and Packers fans. It is so legit. So legit. Absolutely. And agree with this statement, Lamar. As good as you give it, you got to be willing to accept it, which is why when I try to be respectful, I therefore don't accept very much disrespect in return because I'm attempting to be respectful. I agree, though. Those fans that dish it out, as soon as that game turns around, you better know that the comments are coming back to you. Quesadilla Thrilla 71. Rob, I agree. Why talk trash, then have to eat humble pie with a side of crow? That's what I'm talking about. Kim Adams, yeah, I'm on this. Says your hotel should have a dryer in it. Oh, you mean maybe like an actual dryer? I'm going to check because I need that. I do not want wet jeans on the plane tomorrow. Here we go. Steven with the suggestion. Rob Schuh, hang your clothes in front of an AC vent. If I can't find the dryer, I'm on it. I love the problem solvers that I have here. Patrick Forrest says, Rob, I'm a Bears fan. Niners had way too many penalties, but shouldn't really complain too much. The defense was flying and the weather sucked. Bear down, but you earned a like. I appreciate that. And I do think credit to the Bears, and the Niners did have control of this one. So I think you're right. Not too much to get upset about, but the 49er faithful are getting upset because they overlooked the Bears as an opponent. And that was evident. I knew that coming into the game. I felt this was going to be close. I felt the Niners were going to win this. I really did. I thought in weather, I think I predicted 16-9, right? Bears moving the ball, but settling for field goals. I anticipated Fields would have a couple of those schoolyard plays because once the field deteriorates, it is so difficult for the defense to match his elusiveness. And that absolutely played out in the second half as that grass became rougher and rougher. Jason, PDSI. Hey, Rob, glad you're on. Bad loss today, but one of 16. Not 16 losses, plus 17 now. 9-11 puts football in perspective. That's a great statement. It says it's going to be okay, faithful. Absolutely, there are bigger things than football, bigger things than losing. Bears Kingdom, you are right. Niners fans salty out here today. Can you fault them, though? Like when you come in with big expectations for a season and you look at an opponent and you underestimate them, admittedly, but you say, hey, most pundits are telling us that the Bears are one of the worst rosters. And then you come in, crappy weather day, shoot yourself in the foot with penalties, and drop that game. It's a recipe for salt, and the fans are layering it on. Lamar coming in. Just subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. If you do like the video, smash the like button. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe to it. Hit the notification bell. Appreciate it. Eric Pleasant, Rob, the penalties gave us the W. It's a week 1 loss that your team will grow from. Ugly game, but good one. Appreciate that sentiment, Eric. I do, and I hope you're right. I think you're right. I believe the Niners will come out next week firing. Absolutely believe that. SAR519, sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, I think Lance indicated some serious plays. He's going to be a beast soon. I saw that throw to Ray McLeod. Oh my God, did he deliver on that throw? That was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Quesadilla Thrilla saying, Rob, the pregame was litty. I'm glad you would like that. I wasn't sure how it would go down. I'll be interested to see the comments on that video to see if people like the pregame wandering around. When I do it in the parking lot, I hope to do more interviews with fans and come with more comedy, a little more laughs, a little more, probably some inebriated fans. Abraham coming in. Rob, I hope I get to meet you at an away game this year. Maybe go get some grub and talk Niners. No doubt. I was thrilled to meet so many people today. It was really cool to have people come up, take pictures with me, say what's up, say, dude, I watch you on YouTube. I love that. Can't get enough of it. Divine comedy. I'm at Rob. Good lesson today that the Lance bandwagon needs to hit the brakes and start doing some maintenance ASAP before it becomes a train wreck. That's clever. Train wreck? Come on. even if you're a huge Lance fan and that pisses you off, you got to give credit for that one. You have got to give credit for the train wreck. It wasn't a train wreck. It was a train wreck for the whole team is what it was. Blake, yeah, you would be salty too. I'm telling you. I'm a little bit salty. Oh, coming in as the sub. I appreciate it. All right. The second son says, Rob, Bears defense is going to be better than people realize this year. I wondered about that. This is a development year for us, and you guys are a legit contender. Good luck this season. Honestly, looking at that defense, looking at the players added, I wondered if this was a year the Bears defense takes a step, and unfortunately for Fields, invested very little in the offense, that maybe he has to suffer through one more rough season. It makes me wonder if the new regime is as committed to Fields, or whether they're kind of hanging him out to dry to see how much talent he does have and whether he can carry the offense. That's always a concern when you have a young quarterback drafted by a prior regime and then a new head coach comes in. They're not tied to him, even though they're a first-round draft pick. If they want to, they could walk away. Not saying that's the case, but I would guess that they're in a wait-and-see mode. Jason Lewis says, Rob, I'm concerned with the health of Trey. Can't keep playing like that and not expect to be knocked out of games. It did seem as if there was less care taken for Trey Lance, man. He had 13 carries, 13 completions, 13 carries. You cannot have 13 carries. Let's see, 13 carries, 17 games would be 101 carries. Am I correct about that? 91 carries? My math is off. No, 13 carries over 151 carries. That would be wild. Is that right? Now my math is way off. I can't do math on live. I used to be able to. Joey Mellons coming in with the sneaker as a sneakerhead. Thanks for your positivity, Rob. Both Super Bowl teams lost this week. Aaron Rodgers got embarrassed last year on the first game. Can't give up on the season yet. There's always next week. Trey gets better every week. I thought that this one was quicksand, wherein Trey had a decent first half. Things started to unravel, and he lost his cool a bit. I believe if this defense can keep us in games and this run game can give us a lead, and Kyle Shanahan continues with sort of a conservative approach to games, Trey will gain the confidence that he needs and will, in fact, continue to get better. I do not see this as a condemnation of Trey, and I will argue against anyone who sees it as such. Blake, Rob, how do you think Lance will do against more elite defenses? You have a game coming up with the Rams. How do you think he'll respond to guys like Aaron Donald? I think Trey Lance will struggle against some elite defenses. I expect to see him throw some errant interceptions, the kind where he just doesn't see the guy coming into the frame, much like we did see today. I would expect a few struggles. Here we go. More advice on the jeans. Kevin says, Rob, dry your jeans easily by putting a pillow at the waist. Use a hair dryer with an elastic band at the feet and leave it for a bit. Don't fall asleep, though. That's how the fire started last time. Kevin, you're trying to get me to burn down the Marriott marquee. That would be a serious freaking thing. Alan Elizer says, Rob, 221 carries for Lance. We got to check the math here. We got 13 carries times 17 games, 221. Good Lord. Trey isn't ready. Trey's not ready for 221 carries. He is ready to play quarterback, though. Nick says, Rob, 221 carries in a season, absolutely not sustainable as a quarterback. It is not. It is not sustainable. BK from the Bay, Rob, 49ers need to let Trey air out that arm more often. Beautiful deep pass today. We do need to take those shots. We need Danny Gray to be active. All right, I need a hot shower, another cup of coffee, and to just relax. I appreciate all of you being here. Anyone that's still here in the show, please do smash the like button before you go. Subscribe to this channel before you leave and turn on those notifications so you see when I go live. I will definitely have shows throughout the week this week. Look for the first one coming in tomorrow night. Appreciate all of you being here. I had a good time out there getting freaking rained on, even though it was a poor outcome, man. I won't let a loss ruin a good trip to Chicago. Happy to check Soldier Field off of the list. I would definitely come back here. Food's on point. The weather yesterday was great. I'm going to get some deep dish pizza tonight eat away my sorrows. Absolutely appreciate all the love. Anyone who's new, appreciate you coming in. You're always welcome. If you're a Bears fan, still welcome. Come on in and join the chat because I'd love to get a good interaction going. Appreciate all of you. Debbie, thank you so much. Says great show. Thank you. Enjoy your pizza. You know that I will. And there will be that silver lining. That deep dish pizza is going to be so comfortable. Thank you, everyone. You know what I brought that the rain didn't allow? Next time, though, next game I'm at, I brought a mug that I'm going to give away. The first person to recognize me at the next away game gets this mug. It was raining today. Didn't feel like bringing it. That was my bad. I should have because people did recognize me, and I'm giving this bad boy away. But now I have it here to say cheers to all of you until tomorrow when I'm back. Oh, wait. He says I got to get to Joe Mellon's super chat. Did I miss it? I thought I got Joey Mellon's super chat. I'm pretty sure I did. He says, thanks for your positivity, Rob. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Thanks for your positivity, Rob. Both Super Bowl teams lost this week. Aaron Rodgers got embarrassed last year on the first game. Can't give up on the season yet. There's always next week. Trey gets better every week. Joey, I'm in agreement there. I think I read that one earlier. Just repeating it. It was a phenomenal super chat. Deserves to be read twice. But I had Kevin remind me to read it, so I had to make sure. Absolutely going to relax for the rest of the night. And the 49er faithful should as well. Relax. Realize it was only one game. Yes, it was painful. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucked. Yes, we shot ourselves in the foot. Yeah, the weather was horrible, but it's only one game. We can still turn this season into a good one. I am definitely leaning towards, what's the famous one? Lou Malnati's. Lou Malnati's is the pizza on the line. Appreciate everyone here today. We are wrapping this show up. I'll be back tomorrow at 5. Appreciate this one. Says, enjoy the city, Rob. Niner fans, team will be fine. Get them Hawks next week. Bear down. Respect to the Bears. You earned this one. I will be back on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Until then, cheers, 49er faithful.